What if I told you a storm is forming that looks exactly like a hurricane, but it's bringing snow instead of rain? I'm sitting here Friday night, January 30th, watching something absolutely incredible unfold on the weather models. In less than 24 hours, millions of people across the Carolinas are about to experience something they may never forget. And I need to tell you this story because what's about to happen is genuinely historic. Picture this scenario. You're driving down Interstate 95 tomorrow afternoon. Snow is falling so hard you can barely see your headlights piercing through the white curtain. The wind is howling at 60 miles per hour, rocking your car like a boat in rough seas. Your windshield wipers are fighting a losing battle against the accumulating snow. And somewhere off the coast, a storm system is spinning with the raw intensity of a Category 2 hurricane. Except instead of pumping out torrential rain, it's manufacturing snow at an industrial scale. This isn't science fiction. This isn't some disaster movie plot. This is what's happening tomorrow across the Southeast. And I need to walk you through exactly what we're about to witness, because the meteorological setup is absolutely mind-blowing. Let me paint you the scene that's developing right now as I speak. We've got this massive high-pressure system. Think of it as nature's industrial-strength refrigerator, pouring Arctic air down from Canada like an unstoppable frozen waterfall. At the same time, moisture is streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico, carrying tropical warmth and humidity northward. When these two titanic forces collide tomorrow, they're going to create something meteorologists call bombogenesis. Now, I know that sounds like something straight out of a Marvel movie, but it's absolutely real science. It means a storm's atmospheric pressure is going to drop so catastrophically fast, we're talking 24 millibars in just 24 hours, that it literally explodes in intensity, like a meteorological bomb going off. And when that happens, somebody always gets absolutely hammered by Mother Nature's fury. Here's where this story gets wild and almost cinematic. Storm chaser Brad Arnold is driving toward the Outer Banks of North Carolina right now as we speak, heading straight into what's about to become a legitimate, no-joke blizzard. Not the kind where you get a few inches and kids build snowmen. I'm talking about hurricane-force winds with blinding snow. The kind of apocalyptic conditions where visibility drops to zero and you literally can't see your hand in front of your face. But here's what makes this story even more incredible. This isn't just affecting one small area. Let me show you the scope of what tomorrow morning is going to look like across the entire Southeast. Picture Atlanta, a city that shuts down for a dusting of snow, getting legitimate accumulating snow. Birmingham, Alabama, experiencing snow squalls. Even the Florida Panhandle, where people wear shorts in January, might see actual snowflakes falling from the sky for the first time in years. But that's just the opening act of this meteorological drama. The main event, the climax of this weather story, starts around noon Saturday in South Carolina. Columbia, Charleston, Charlotte, places that rarely see serious snow, cities where people don't even own snow shovels, are about to get absolutely buried. We're talking 6 to 8 inches in some areas, which might not sound like much to someone from Buffalo, but for the Southeast, that's like getting hit by a freight train made of snow. But here's the kicker that makes this story even more intense. While this snow is falling at rates of up to 3 inches per hour, winds are going to be gusting up to 40 miles per hour inland and a terrifying 75 miles per hour near the coast. You know what 75 miles per hour winds sound like when they're howling outside your window. Like a freight train that never passes. Like the house is about to lift off its foundation. Now imagine that freight train is also dumping snow horizontally instead of vertically. That's exactly what Kill Devil Hills and the Outer Banks are facing tomorrow night, and it's going to be absolutely surreal to witness. But wait, there's a plot twist in this weather thriller that even I didn't see coming until recently. Something called a dry slot might develop right in the middle of this massive storm system. Think of it like the eye of a hurricane, but instead of eerie calm, it's just meteorological nothing. No precipitation, a gap in the action. This means places like Raleigh and Charlotte, cities that are preparing for significant snow accumulation, might get way less than expected, while areas farther east get absolutely pounded with more snow than they've seen in decades. It's like nature is playing weather roulette with millions of people, and we won't know who wins and loses until the dice stop rolling tomorrow afternoon. The uncertainty is both fascinating and terrifying from a forecasting perspective. Now here's where this story gets really crazy, almost science fiction level weird. After this monster storm moves out to sea, the cold air that follows in its wake is going to be unlike anything the Southeast has experienced in decades. I'm talking about temperatures so cold they'll rewrite record books. Temperatures in the teens in Atlanta, a city that considers 40 degrees jacket weather. Near freezing temperatures in Miami, where palm trees are about to get a harsh lesson in Arctic meteorology. The cold is going to be so intense that the National Weather Service is actually issuing falling iguana alerts in South Florida. Yes, that's a real thing they warn about, when it gets so cold that iguanas literally freeze and fall out of trees like scaly icicles. But the most incredible, almost unbelievable part of this story? Tampa, Florida might actually see accumulating snow. Not just a few flurries that melt on contact. Actual, honest-to-goodness snow that sticks to the ground. When was the last time that happened? Try 1977, nearly 50 years ago. We're talking about a once-in-a-generation, tell-your-grandchildren-about-it kind of event. The meteorological mechanism behind this is called Gulf effect snow, where the warm Gulf waters act exactly like the Great Lakes, creating snow squalls as Arctic air screams across the relatively warm water. It's the same process that dumps feet of snow on Buffalo, except this time it's happening in the land of Disney World and beaches. Meanwhile, back at the center of our story, off the Carolina coast, this storm is going to look exactly like a hurricane on satellite imagery tomorrow night. Same perfect spiral shape, same intense central core, same destructive winds radiating outward. The only difference? Instead of storm surge flooding coastal communities, we get snowdrifts. Instead of palm trees bending in tropical winds, we get pine trees snapping under the combined weight of ice and Arctic gales. The storm chasers heading out there tomorrow are about to document something that doesn't happen very often. Essentially, a winter hurricane. Winds over 100 miles per hour over the water, 75 miles per hour onshore, with snow falling horizontally instead of vertically. It's going to look like something out of a disaster movie, except it's completely real and happening in real time. For context that makes this story even more sobering, we still have over 60,000 people without power in Nashville from our previous ice storm. The death toll from that weather disaster has now tragically exceeded 100 people. And now, we're about to send another Arctic blast southward, potentially making rescue and recovery efforts even more dangerous and complicated. This is why meteorologists like myself get genuinely excited about these systems. Not because we want people to suffer, that's absolutely not it. But because we're witnessing something rare and powerful unfold before our eyes. It's like watching nature flex its atmospheric muscles, demonstrating just how quickly conditions can change and how powerful these weather systems can become when all the ingredients come together perfectly. The computer models have been remarkably consistent about this storm, which in the weather world is like having multiple witnesses all tell the same story. When the atmosphere is this locked and loaded, this primed for explosive development, forecasters start using words like historic and unprecedented. By Sunday morning, this storm will be just a memory, spinning harmlessly out over the North Atlantic. But its effects will linger for days, maybe weeks. Power outages from the hurricane-force winds, impassable roads buried under feet of snow, and temperatures so brutally cold that even South Florida will temporarily feel more like the Arctic tundra than the tropical paradise people expect. So if you're anywhere from Georgia to Virginia tomorrow, Understand that this isn't just another winter storm rolling through. This is a meteorological monster that's about to make national headlines and dominate weather conversations for years to come. The kind of storm that gets its own Wikipedia page. The kind of event that people will reference when talking about the big storm of 2026. And the most incredible part? It's all happening in less than 12 hours from right now. The atmospheric stage is set. The players are in position. The models have spoken with unusual clarity and confidence. And millions of people across the Southeast are about to experience something they'll tell stories about for the rest of their lives. Whether you're a weather enthusiast or someone who barely pays attention to forecasts, tomorrow is going to be one of those days that reminds everyone just how powerful and unpredictable Mother Nature can be when she decides to put on a show. Stay tuned, stay safe, and get ready for one absolutely wild meteorological ride.